it encompasses criminalization of a lot of designer drugs, where people would be creative enough to alter formulas that make heroin and other illegal substances. Now, the Act doesn't necessarily address the issue of Nyaope, because Nyaope is just a street name. There's no drug called Nyaope. It's just a mixture or a concoction that is made up of illegal substances together with ARVs, rat poison, and sugar. But in respect of the ARVs, people are prosecuted for possession and use thereof without a prescription in terms of the regulations of the Medicines Act. Now, in respect of the heroin and Taha, already they are listed, so there was never a problem in respect of that. But from a penalty point of view, now if you are found in use or in possession of the illegal substances, the mixtures, including the designer drugs, you will be, if you're convicted, obviously, you'll get a fine, or alternatively a jail term of not more than 15 years. But if you are found to have been dealing in these illegal substances, you will, in the event of a conviction, be getting a sentence of a fine or a jail term that does not exceed 25 years. But in the event of repeat offenders, obviously, we hope and expect that the presiding officers will have to send them to jail.
There's this perception that up to now it's been impossible to prosecute dealers in these drugs and perhaps those using them as well. My understanding, however, is that the laws did exist. You just had to be quite careful about how you prosecuted them depending on the makeup of the actual drug. And this new law makes it much easier and covers a far wider range of designer drugs and any new ones perhaps entering the market.
True that, Joanne. But of importance is the fact that we're adopting an integrated and sustainable approach here, not a piecemeal approach where we focus on Nyaope. We're focusing on all designer drugs where there's a specific formula that is followed in heroin, but then you alter it by including other chemical substances or other narcotic substances in order to enhance its effect. Now, if those substances that you add in there to make up that mixture or that designer drug, they end up having the same effect as the one that is already listed, it therefore means that you will be convicted. But we're following a model that is practiced and has been a success in the USA as well as Australia. So we had to ensure that when we put together the amendment, it is an amendment that if 10 years later, myself and yourself, we come up with a new concoction which we don't call Wungatik or Nyaope, we are able to be prosecutable. But in the past, it was possible and still is possible to prosecute a person for use, possession, and dealing in Nyaope because there are contents thereof that are already listed in the schedule in the Drugs and Trafficking Act, which is why it was possible to prosecute them. But the problem, Johan, had been that law enforcement had been reluctant in some instances, we're told, to arrest those people thinking that they would get scot-free, when in fact the prosecuting authority had been clear in that we can still use the Drugs Act to prosecute for those that are already listed.
Do you think that this is going to act as a deterrent to people using the drug, or do you think it might have a reverse effect in the sense that when someone knows that this kind of jail term could be faced in the long term, something like a 15-year jail term for the use of a drug like Nyaope, that they'll be less likely to seek help for rehabilitation?
Two issues, Joanne. The issue of drugs, like sexual violence, is a societal problem that needs to be addressed within the communities because the criminal justice system comes in after the fact. We're at the tail end. But of importance in this intervention is that the hardworking Minister Khadebe and the energetic and vibrant Minister of Health, Minister Motsoaledi, have come up with an intervention. They can only do so much in putting laws. Law enforcement need to be aggressive in arresting them. Even the suppliers, the dealers, because that's a problem. It doesn't help to arrest the foot soldiers, those who are caught with a Zol or two. But also prosecuting authority needs to come in and ensure that they present formidable cases in court to persuade and convince the magistrate to impose severe sentences. And also we expect and believe that the magistrate themselves will not give people fines and all that, and will consider direct terms of imprisonment, but custodial sentences are more effective than fines, even for first offenders.
Know more about your world. eNCA.com.